You guys, I'm not doing so well. Today, I had to make what I considered to be the healthiest choice for me, and that was dip out from my shift today. And it's a decision that I sensed yesterday I would have to make because of how my day went yesterday. Of course, yesterday, everything was okay in the beginning and I was doing my work, I was grinding, whatever. But of course, given the additional pressure, additional demands, I guess it just caught up with me. And I also began to be overwhelmed by the stuff that I was accruing outside of work that I had pending. It's like personal related stuff. I'm going to share one of them, open enrollment. I'm still working on that because I discovered that, of course, like always, there has to be an issue with my account, an issue with my profile. So now I have to deal with that. And on top of that, communication with that service has been bad on my part because I get so overwhelmed by how many letters they send that even though the letters are short, something about it still doesn't click with me. So I'm hoping to finally get in contact with an agent, something that I should have definitely done a while back. I can own that mistake on my part. But it's one of those things that this shit never happens at a right time. It never happens during a good time. And I need to continue living to make it work. And what I mean by a bad time is when I work, of course, my schedule, given that it's always long hours, then the rest of the day I gotta spend it doing other things that are important for me and my subsistence. So for me to get around to communicating, to making calls, to sending letters, that shit, I've never managed well with that. And something that frustrates me is I should be able to use an online portal, but again, there is an issue with my profile to where it pretty much locks me out. And I don't understand the point of me being empowered with an online profile for me to self serve if I'm going to have trouble accessing it every single time. So, anyway, so I have that mess going on. And I also just felt like the noise about this season is just overwhelming. I'm one of those people who gets severely stressed and depressed during this season. And I just told myself that physically, I'm also starting to feel the effect of it. I've been feeling the effect of this since 2018, but in more recent times, I'm experiencing chronic pain that no longer fixes itself. You know, at some point, you have the advantage that when you say bump against something, you know you'll have the bruise, you know it'll hurt a little bit, but you know it'll go away. Well, my sciatic nerve pain is one of those things that's not getting better. And I have looked up stuff online, advice that it remedies it temporarily, but when I'm at work, for instance, I cannot just stop working to lie on my back and do nerve flossing, or I cannot just sit and do the seated nerve flossing, which is what seems to bring me the most relief. And when I think about it, I only go through that shit when I'm working. And the only times I feel it outside of work is when I do things that resemble working. And that's just natural. It is the way the body functions. You use it, you stress it, you overuse it, you break it down, it'll collapse on you. It'll start to break down on you. It is no different from putting mileage on your car. But some people break down faster than others. And I always knew that I would be the person who would break down probably a little earlier, and that's why I wanted to slow things down. Because as a kid, I was never the athletic type, and when I look at myself, I'm literally like bony, even though I'm fat. And I work out and work out and work out and work out and eat and eat and eat and eat. And I guess it's just my body type is not suitable for that type of shit anyway. So I said to myself, within reason, I will work to the capacity I feel is reasonable for me. And that's another reason why I chose to stick to being part-time because I'm like, if I'm breaking down this bad as a part-timer, imagine as a full-timer. What am I gonna be, dead in 2 years, 3 years? And it just sucks because it's one of those things that I want to do more, but if there's something unacceptable to me is living a life in pain. I think living a life in pain is not worth living. And if I can do things to avoid this stuff from getting worse, I'm gonna do it. And yesterday's shift legit broke me. It got to a point where I had to think about the next step I was taking to hopefully make my sciatic nerve pain just go elsewhere. And my foot, when I got home, I saw that the wound opened back up. I hadn't seen it bleed in about a week now. And the last time I had seen it bleeding, it was because, some peeling of the skin that just happens from wearing stuff. And I thought, I'm okay with that, no objections. You can anticipate that. After all, it's live flesh. It's tender and sensitive. But like I've said before, it's one of those things that when you don't have support, such as, say, I cannot just go to urgent care, for instance, to have better care for this, it'll take its time. And I think it healed amazing. I think it's like 90% there on its own. And I never even took anything. I didn't even take ibuprofen. I just wrote it all out with ice and inclining, to the point that the back of my knee started to hurt because I wasn't supporting it right. The reason I chickened out from ibuprofen is because in the past, I don't know what it is about ibuprofen, but it messes up with my stomach. You ever take a calcium supplement? I take those here and there, maybe like twice a week when my calcium intake is limited. But calcium, to me, it sits very heavy. And sometimes you can even taste it through the capsule. This happens even if my stomach is full, even if I just had a glass of water, whether I take it with nothing, take it without a meal, that's even worse. But ibuprofen is kind of the same, but the feeling it left me with was more of a burn. Like calcium is just heavy, but the ibuprofen, it felt like a burn that was like fixated, kind of like a dot. It's like behind my belly button, something weird. Like imagine my belly button area, that, but in the center of my core, that kind of burn. I don't like that. I thought this is probably one of those substances that doesn't agree with me, that I'm allergic, intolerant to. Now, ibuprofen never made me feel like I had trouble breathing, whatever allergic reactions are, but that burning sensation just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel normal, because then after that, I would have trouble eating. And speaking of eating, you guys know how I religiously have tacos every Tuesday? Yesterday, I didn't make it. This is my first time skipping Taco Tuesday since it's gotta be over a year. To me, that's something I enjoy. I religiously eat them because they're delicious and a fun thing to do, but I didn't even want to do that. So I had a pretty atrocious diet yesterday. But oh well, again, it's one of those things that I just gotta learn to be kind to myself with. And that's the whole point of this. So now I have that little bit of a soreness going on, it's kind of like a little bit of a swell behind my knee, but I saw that coming because I wouldn't correct it immediately. But anyway, that's beside the point. I just know I had to take space again. And I hate how often this is happening for me because I'm not usually the kind of person who just backs away from a challenge. But I have to worry about me. I have to take care of me. If I don't do this, who else is going to do it? And it's one of those weeks when there's too much going on. And of course, outside of work, there is stuff going on. Because I was out of commission due to my foot, I also fell behind on home stuff. I need to clean the house around, the kitchen needs attention, the bathroom needs attention. I need to sweep, I need to mop, those little things. And it's the kind of stuff that I don't want to just spend my days off doing that. And my work days, I just don't have the time to do anything outside of that, because that's time that I won't have to do other things that I need for my subsistence as well. So ultimately, I just wanted to like have a record of this, and just to help myself not feel guilty, and to also ease my panic, I guess, because I just didn't feel well at all. Like for me to call out, I feel that tight feeling in my chest, like I would feel as a kid anytime you did something wrong or you're anticipating punishment or something like that. And I'm just tired of living that way. I'm tired of living like I don't deserve nice things, like feeling guilty, feeling like, well, I'm condemned to my miserable status, all because I'm poor. No. So I'm never gonna allow myself to feel humiliated by my status. And physically, I have limitations, and I'm not willing to push myself in the name of having things be slightly better on some fronts. I'm going to be losing some things to gain some things. For instance, if I were to work more, become full-time, sure, I'm getting the benefits and everything, but I'm getting the benefits because it's going to cost me to have those benefits, which is work more, break yourself down more. And like I just said, I can barely handle working part-time. Imagine me working full-time. I'm not designed for that. And I would rather struggle, but at least I'm living reasonably and true to myself. If I have to go live in my car, I will. I was prepared to do that months ago. Had stuff not worked out the way it did, all in the name of not living in pain. This is the kind of pain that there's nothing to be gained out of the pain of you breaking your body down. And sometimes I feel like if I express this genuine, legitimate concern about how work breaks you down, then immediately I'm not working hard or I'm not reliable, stuff like that. And I know that everybody else is dealing with shit because I see them taking their little pills. I see them pushing through pain, talking about it, complaining about it. I'm like, well, I'm talking about it, complaining about it, and actively doing something about it, which is speaking through action. Hey, I have limits. I reached it. I worry about my well-being and safety. And this is how I must proceed. And if it were my own daughter or something like that, like a family member, my mom, when she started to have her medical challenges and need to start skipping work, she felt weird at first. But then she also felt the relief of, wow, this is what it's like to be off. And then I said, yeah, Mom, exactly. Start taking more time off. And you'll see that a lot of your issues go away. She's not even pre-diabetic anymore. The last time she went to the doctor, she told me that they found nothing wrong with her glucose levels anymore. And a lot of her chronic pain went away. When I was out for 2 weeks, I had zero pain. And that shoulder pain that I'm not sure I shared with you guys, but I had like a super bad, severe shoulder pain. That shit is gone. And yesterday, while I was at work, I didn't feel it, but like the remnant of it began to threaten to reemerge. I'm just done. I'm tired of pretending that I'm okay, breaking down like that. And at home, I have nothing to show for it. I go to work, work hard, but because of my status, I don't have anything to show for it. And I work pretty fucking hard. So I'm just going to be honest with myself. Gonna take this time off, let it go. It's done. I relinquished my duty for today, but at least I'm gonna make it count. I'm gonna start working on housekeeping, and after that, I'm gonna see if I can get on the treadmill for a little while. I had a pretty good day a few days ago. I was able to work out for over an hour, and I also burned over 900 calories. I hadn't done that in forever. Not even when I was healthy, I was burning that much. And that excited me. It helped me be like, if I can accomplish that as a cripple, imagine what I can accomplish if I rest, recover, and get back on the grind. I'm also tired of being overweight. I'm like 10 pounds overweight. I feel it. I see it. Even my clothes don't feel the same, don't fit right. I hate that. That is a show of neglect. It is a show of other things occupying me, costing me my fitness. And the fact that the stuff with my foot happened didn't help. If anything, that exacerbated my issue there. But I looked at it as a sign that, see, prime example of shit is gonna get worse before it gets better. So anyways, you guys, the entire point of this is for me to just journal that this happened to me as a way of monitoring myself, capturing this moment exactly as I felt it, and to reconcile with myself and feel okay and feel fine with having to step back sometimes. It doesn't matter if I just came from time off. It doesn't matter if I'm hurt. It doesn't matter if I'm healthy. It doesn't matter if I'm PMSing or whatever it is. I just want to be able to be like, no, and be firm about it, confident about it, and let it go, as opposed to worrying about how, I don't know, perceptions may change, or the fact that I'm usually not entirely supported when I take this approach. Those who are used to hustling and grinding and all that, they may frown at it and be like, I did much more than that or worked much more than that. And I'm like, well, congrats on taking a life of abuse. I want to put an end to that. And if I have to cut my pay or whatever else happens, I'll do it. That's why God gave me the authority to be roaming with a free will and able to make decisions and come up with shit. But yeah, at least I'm peaceful about this because I think I have thought about this for so long, the consequences of everything and the connections of everything, that I don't live in denial. I'm not just gonna be here and say something it isn't. Like someone told me, it's an honest account. So why do I keep having insecurities? I have always been a very insecure person when it comes to certain moves of mine, like some of my decisions as a student, as a worker, as a person, and I'm just sick of that. I don't understand why I don't believe in my criteria. This is gonna be another seed planted in an effort to respect my own authority. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know how you're feeling. I hope that you're doing much better than me. And if you ever experienced moments like this when you just had to legit walk out or just walk out, take a breather, get away from it. How did it go? What happened? Another thing I remember that I have pending is my car has been needing maintenance for the past week. And before I started recording, I finally scheduled my service appointment because I'm really religious about the health of my car. And I was so upset that I saw that a motherfucker must have walked really close to it and they pushed my mirror backward again. That's another thing that pisses me off. Like, some people out here are animals. You don't take care of your things. You have beat up ass cars. And then other people's property also suffers because you're inconsiderate. So yeah, that, like, my own environment doesn't help me have peace of mind, you know, because I don't have a place that has a garage. I hate that.